Schiff. I'm talking with Jim Rawles about how to survive, literally, the coming economic collapse. And, before I get back into the discussion, just quickly on precious metals, I certainly have nothing against putting a little precious metals in your retirement account, in your IRA, physical precious metals. But just want, again, a word of warning. The one thing you don't want to do with your retirement savings is start a coin collection, right? So don't buy any numismatics. Don't buy anything rare or antique. If you want gold in your retirement account because you want to hedge against inflation, you want to store a value, you buy bullion. You can buy it in bars, you can buy it in coins, but do not buy collectible, rare, or numismatic coins. They have no place in a retirement portfolio. If you want to be a coin collector as a hobby, fine, that's a totally different thing. Maybe it'll appreciate, maybe it won't. But as an investor, as a saver, steer clear. Anyway, I'm going to go back to our discussion of being prepared, surviving. When it comes to stocking up, storing food, things like that, I don't think you can go wrong. Because even if this turns out to be another fire drill, like the 1970s, if we find some miracle and we can skate through and postpone the crisis to a later date, you're still not going to go wrong. As long as you buy stuff that you're going to need anyway, that you're going to use, whether it's food or, toiletries. I mean, you could stock up on shaving cream and razor blades and toothpaste, deodorant. I mean, you're going to use this stuff anyway. And one thing I'm confident of, even if we don't get a complete crisis, even if there isn't a shortage of these things, even if people aren't waiting on a line for 5 hours to buy a tube of toothpaste, even if that doesn't happen, the prices are going to go up. They're going to be more expensive, so you might as well buy them now. Anyway, what do you think about that?
Well, I have to agree with you. Like, for example, here at my ranch, we're just now finishing up the last few rolls of aluminum foil that I bought in 1992. And it's still perfectly good. And I bought it at the Navy Exchange in 1992 for 89 cents a roll. Now, those same rolls of aluminum foil, well, actually, they don't even make them the same sizes. They make shorter rolls now. Will set you back about $4 or $5. So to get a large roll of aluminum foil. There's a lot of items like that you can stock up on that have a long shelf life. They're relatively compact. They make good barter items. They're multi-purpose. You really can't go wrong. They are like money in the bank. And as you say, you only have to pay taxes on your money once that way, because if you put it into a dollar-denominated investment and then later liquidate that investment, you're going to end up paying tax twice.
Right. So we
don't know how tax laws may change in the future. We may have confiscatory taxes in the future.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, because let's assume you invest in something and it doubles in price, and then you sell it to buy toothpaste that has doubled in price. Well, you actually can't afford it because you have to pay income taxes on the gain. And yes,
right,
if
and
we end up...
mention, of course, the tremendous inflation that may be on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, if we end up with massive inflation where everything goes up by 1,000%, and then the government imposes a huge, maybe they put a windfall profit tax, maybe capital gains rates goes to 50, 60, 70%. And so you're really not taxing your gain at all. On the other hand, if you buy the products now and simply use them, the government isn't going to impose a use tax. Now, I guess if you barter them, theoretically, the IRS, if you actually, this is something that the IRS would actually say is taxable. If you buy a tube of toothpaste for $2 and then you give it to somebody to buy a $6 item, let's say you exchange a tube of toothpaste and you buy something that costs $6, the government actually expects you to pay income taxes on that $4 gain. They expect you to report it as barter income. But I don't think anyone's going to do it.
They have the same double standard with pre-1965 silver coinage, because if you were to go pay your taxes right now in pre-1965 coinage, they would only give you the face value of that coinage.
Yes, but if you were to sell something, but if you were to advertise your house for sale and you were to say, I'm only accepting pre-1965 coins, they would expect you to pay taxes on them.
Yeah, the IRS would nail you in a heartbeat. So they have a double standard there. But getting back to tangibles, I think that it's important that people do stock up on tangibles. Think in terms of barter. So you want to buy things, if you're looking at a survival barter situation where we're looking at a currency wipeout, buy things that are readily recognizable, compact, and durable. things that, you don't want to put your money in bananas because they're obviously not going to have a good shelf life. But if you buy something with a good shelf life and that's readily recognizable that a lot of people are going to want, you're in good shape. That's why I point to common caliber ammunition as probably the ultimate barter item, right up there with silver on my list.
Yeah, I recommended ammunition as an investment in my little book of Bull Moves, and in fact, the year after it came out, I think we had a huge surge in ammo prices that happened after Barack Obama was first elected. But yeah, a lot of things, even if you don't use them, I mentioned, you can have wine. I mean, wine actually improves with age, right? So you can buy it and store it, and it can be more valuable because it's aged.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't drink it, but obviously there's sometimes you have to have the room to store something. So some people, if you're
there's some items like paper products. I've had a lot of little old lady readers write in and say, "Well, my attic is now full with toilet paper." Well, you've got to do it within reason. There are limits, and you just have to use common sense and keep balance.
Yeah, I think things that make sense too. Batteries, candles, light bulbs. Things that you're going to use. In fact, a lot of people are storing light bulbs now because aren't there certain types of light bulbs they're trying to ban?
Yes, the standard incandescent bulbs that are 75 watts and larger are about ready to be banned. So it's just like as if you were to buy cans of R12 Freon for recharging car air conditioning systems. Those were banned, and the people that were sitting on a case of them made a fortune because they went from literally 89 cents a can to $12 a can overnight because they banned any new importation or manufacture for private use.
Another thing you can stock up on.
Same principle applies right now with high-capacity firearms magazines.
Yeah,
I think that's a wise investment.
Another thing you can
very likely to be import banned.
Yeah, another thing you can stock up on. I did a commentary about that recently. Is forever stamps from the post office.
Right.
Therefore, you use no commission. You just buy a few rolls of those things, and you can always mail a first-class letter, no matter how much they cost. And obviously, even if you're not doing the mail, you can find somebody else who will need those stamps. And they don't take up a lot of space.
That's a brilliant strategy. One other that I recommend that has been largely overlooked is the current circulating United States 5-cent coins, the nickels, because the current minting cost on those is around 9 cents, and they have 7.5 cents of base value.
Yeah, I just mentioned that earlier in the show, and the penny, the pre-1981 penny, has got 3 cents worth of copper in it, and there's still plenty of those circulating around.
Yeah, the only problem with those is they now have a mix of pennies circulating, zinc pennies alongside the old ones. And
but you can tell the difference.
Coin sorting machine. With nickels, you can buy them by the roll or buy them by the case, and any nickel, except for the World War II nickels, which were worth even more because they were 20% silver, are going to have that full nickel and copper content. But it's important that people stock up on them now before they introduce a new steel nickel or stainless steel nickel, whatever they're going to do, so you won't have to sort them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, nickels, and my father did that way back when in the 1960s when he was taking the silver quarters and dimes and half dollars out of circulation, knowing that the silver price was going higher, and, it didn't cost anything, and, he was bags of
he got it all at face value.
Yeah, well, a bag of silver
Gresham's law is inescapable.
Yes, which is bad money chases out good money, and that will happen. But anyway, so tell me a little bit more about what's going on your website. I mean, are you selling survival stuff, or is it just?
Well, I don't sell anything directly other than copies of my books. I have a lot of advertisers, and they're doing a land office business right now because most of what they're selling are practical and tactical, tangible items. So there's definitely a very strong interest, especially in water filters and food storage right now. Mountain House Corporation, they're one of the major suppliers of freeze-dried foods, is developing a huge
and it makes sense. Even just, the Mormons, I think all Mormons, they have like 2 years' worth of food stored in their houses just as part of...
They actually reduced that to 1 year, but it's a wise philosophy. I have some real problems with the Mormon religious doctrine, but
that's one thing. That's what I've always said. If you make friends with, at least if you're friends with some Mormons and there are some shortages, you'll know where there might be some food. They might, but anyway, look, that's good advice. Thanks for coming on the show. Unfortunately, I think you're going to get a lot more traffic on your website in the years ahead.